Welcome to On the Square. I'm the host, Mykal Kafi, and I have a guest, which she will introduce herself.
I'm Darlene Reed. I'm a former social worker at a nonprofit.
And what we're going to be talking about, just general current affair, did you know topic. So we're kind of going to leave the election situation alone and some other pressing issues that you might have on your mind. But we're definitely going to cover a large array of topics in the form of did you know? So we might elaborate on it, or we just let you know some of this stuff is going on and we'll just keep moving. So if you want to listen intensely or write down some of the information, I think it's fascinating stuff, but it's up to you what you want to do. So I'm going to give you my same speech, which welcome to the On the Square is part of Health, Wealth, and Self. And again, I got that from KRS-One, which is a former rapper, or we can call him a continual rapper, because I don't know if he retired or not. But your health is the most important thing, because if you don't have it, you won't have any wealth, because most of your wealth will go into paying for disease care system. So you lose your money. And you also should have a knowledge of self. So health, wealth, and self. A little bit on me a little bit is one of my main things is working on yourself. So everybody should be working on themselves. And I'll talk a little bit about me. I don't really drink. And when I mean I don't really drink, I don't drink at all. And I don't smoke. I don't gamble. I don't have any tattoos on my body. I vote third party, even though I didn't do it this election, but I normally go third party. I deal with spirituality, so I don't do any organized religion, but I have been in organized religions previously. I don't gamble. I try to avoid the N-word, try to avoid profanity, try to avoid name calling. All these things I've done in the past, and I really didn't have a problem using the N-word, profanity, and name calling. But being more mature, thinking, I think is a waste of words using these terms. I'm going to give a list of books that I recommend, and Darlene can give any books that she have on her mind is she thinks is required reading. One of them is Black Labor, White Wealth, and that's Dr. Claude Anderson.
Excuse me.
Another one's called Medical Apartheid from Harriet Washington. And another book is Black Reconstruction in America by W.E.B. Du Bois. And Darlene, do you have any? Oh, I got one more. When Work Disappear by William Julius Wilson. And if you have any books that you would recommend for our audience to, or even a magazine.
Well, unlike Mykal, I do go to an organized religion. I do go to church. And what I do every morning when I get up, I pray and I read a passage in which I want to live my life. And that is the main book that I keep and that I live my life by, because that's how I was raised, and I found that it has served me well. As far as other books, I do read contemporary stuff. I read one recently, and I can't remember the author's name, but it's Women Who Run with Wolves. I read that recently, and I thought that was very interesting because it does give you an introspective on self and make you think about yourself and the choices that you make. I do read magazines. I love Essence. I love People magazine sometimes just to find out what's happening in pop culture. And so those are the main things that I read now. I do get a chance sometimes to listen to other stuff, other books, to listen to books as I'm working and writing, but the main book that I live my life by is the Bible.
King James.
Unabridged version, yes.
I'm gonna give you a list of individuals I tend to either read their writings, listen to their speeches, or things of that nature, and then Darlene can give you people. I'm pretty sure like Sister Soldier would be a person that you listen to. Okay, so Glenn Ford, Thomas Hartman, Chris Hodges or Hodge, the show Democracy Now, which is Amy Goodman, Mother Jones, that's a publication, NPR, The Nation publication, Ralph Nader, Garrison Hayes, young person, Calvin Michaels. These are podcasters, very young people also in their 20s or 30s. Professor Richard Wolff and Professor William Black are some example of literature, lectures, and individuals I try to get my information.
One that you mentioned, Glenn
Ford.
Fields. Glenn Ford? Or, yeah.
Glenn Ford, yeah.
Glenn Ford. Someone introduced me to that one, and I don't listen all the time, but I have. One of the things I listen to, I'm a news junkie, so I listen to a lot of podcasts of MSNBC hosts. I listen to Joy Reid's podcast. I listen to Rachel Maddow. I listen to I guess you would say Alex Witt. She has one. I also listen to some of the professors that are at the college, at the colleges, and listen to some of their podcasts, just so I can be up on what's happening on the campuses right now. I listen to Eddie Glaude Jr., and I also like Jason Johnson. I like his podcast. So I listen to some of those things just so I'll know what's happening with the youth of today.
Okay. So now I'm going to go to did you know, and you can chime in for the certain topics that you want to say something about it, and if you don't, you can just say keep going. One of the things is I have down here as 2 billion people are not on the internet right now as we speak. 2 billion people with a B, and I got that from the World Economic Forum. I'm not a big fan of the World Economic Forum, but they keep a lot of statistics. But where they trying to make the world go, I'm not too happy about where they're trying to make people go. But I do use their statistics. 30%, I got this from Michael Douglas. And just because he's an actor doesn't mean he don't pay attention to certain things. And certain things he don't pay attention because he's rich. You don't pay attention to what the cost of bread is. But he said that 30% of the United States population do not have a passport. And I'm pretty sure Darlene would want to say something about passports.
I am surprised at that information. I have had a passport since I was 12. My parents believed in you should see the world, that the world is much bigger than Connecticut, where I was born. So I have had a passport practically all my life. So I'm surprised that other individuals don't have one, and don't travel outside of the United States. Or I'm surprised at that statistic.
Okay. This one is coming from the state of United States healthcare workforce. It's a group, I don't know if it's public or private, but it's a group of medical professionals. Their report is state that, and this is current. It might not be this year, but it's pretty current. The average doctor in the United States lives up to 51 years. Now, I'm going to tell you, we're dealing with statistics. So you can Google and find somebody that has another age group, you know. So I'm not going to say this 51 year is written in stone, but I do agree with it because I bought a book called The Doctors Don't Guarantee Their Work. And that book came with that similar figure. Now, this is semi current, and the one where the doctors don't guarantee their work is more older book, but it was written by a doctor. So what fascinated me in that book was that he said that the requirements, if anybody went to college, you got certain requirements to get your discipline. So to be a medical doctor, you don't need a lot of credits in health. What you're getting is how to make diagnosis, surgery, and all that kind of stuff. But to eat healthy, nutritional, all that stuff, that's minimum workload. So I think he said somewhere between 3 or 6 credits is enough to get your MD. I'm going off of memory, so if I'm a little off, don't get riled up about it. The point is that you don't have a lot of credits you need to get your in health to get your MD. And another thing out of that book, he said that vegetarians live 5 years longer than someone that just consume meat. So I found that fascinating. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the other list. Maybe I'll go on this side first.
I was just going to
No, go ahead.
Just going to say to that, I believe that statistic can be true, but is it true for just certain doctors and certain professions?
And that could be true.
For example, you have a dentist. A dentist who's a doctor who lives longer than maybe a surgeon or oncologist or something like that. I wondered if they broke it down into which field they are specializing in, or is it just on the average, all doctors live,
Well, I think based on what I read, and this is a long time ago, I think they're doing on average. But it's good that you brought up a dentist, because dentist probably is the most healthy person or profession in the United States, because a lot of what we eat and what's in our mouth causes a lot of diseases that are because if you have cancer and a lot of other things and heart problems, they're going to look at your mouth. They can find, they don't always have to scan your body. They can just look at your teeth and all that stuff, your tongue and all that stuff, to know that you have some illness. So I do believe the dentist probably be one of the more healthier examples, like what you brought up. I just don't have the facts on it.
And one other thing I was thinking, as far as doctors go, I have come to the conclusion doctors don't treat for health. They treat the disease. And I think that is
Problematic?
something, yeah,
Okay.
is problematic. And it's something that I think we should, as individuals, begin to really concentrate on and approach it in that way when we see our doctors, because I have found that when I was working with elderly, they just kept giving them pills. They give them more and more pills. If you have this, they give you a pill. If you have this, they give you a pill. If that pill causes you to have some reaction, they gave you another pill.
Yeah.
So they kept treating them with medication instead of treating them for health, how
Good
to
point.
make them healthier.
Yeah, that's a good
So
point.
I think that what you were saying, it fits right in, with my life experience in dealing with some doctors who deal with elderly patients.
Yeah, because I could use an example because in the field that we're both in, one person that I know of, they were on Zoloft, and they had a problem sleeping. So the next thing the doctor did was prescribe sleeping pills. So you got a side effect from Zoloft, and now you're going to take a sleeping pill that got another side effect. So like you're saying, they're not trying to deal with the root cause. They're dealing with the symptoms. And then because this person didn't want all these pills on her daily consumption, she went to drinking alcohol, which knocked her out. But it also increased her weight and other
And
things.
other problems,
Other
yeah.
problems. So
Yes.
because they tell you that alcohol mixed with medication is gonna cause another issue. So moving on, I've looked at some of this. This one, I think, I'm trying to pick one that you're gonna immediately have a comment. I seen one of them. I know that he was going to jump on, but I'll get to it. 40%, this is another one. 40% of Americans don't have $400 in their account for emergency. I got that from the Federal Reserve Bank. Not a big fan of the Federal Reserve, but they do take statistics, and that's from them. 40% of Americans don't have $400 in their account for emergency or a rainy day. And if you have something to say about savings or
I believe
investments.
I believe that could be true. But I also believe that it is the way in which your life has been structured or which you have been raised. My parents always believed that you should have money for what they call the rainy day. And even though I used to tell my mother sometime, when it rains, it pours. But they always believed you should have enough money to pay at least 6 months of your rent, of your mortgage. You should have enough money for that. You should keep that aside. So I was always raised that way, and so I have continued to practice that. Now, at the end of 6 months, I'm gonna be right there with everybody else, but I do have 6 months, but it was always something that was instilled in me. So I can believe that some people don't have $400 because unless that is pushed on you, taught to you at an early age, I don't think you would adopt that way of living. Because I know individuals who I have a friend in college. She spent every dime she could get her hand on. She left college not only owing a student loan, but she owed every charge card company in America. But that's how she was raised. She was raised to say, whatever you want, buy it. So I can understand that. There are some people who they don't want to wait for gratification. They want it right now. I want that coat right now. I want those shoes right now. I want everything right now. And as a result, they don't save money. They don't. It's not necessary. They don't see that as something that is necessary to do um, in order to just live your lifestyle. You just want to live your lifestyle, whatever it is.
Okay. 2/3 of Americans are working paycheck to paycheck. Now, again, these stats it depends on who's giving it and when it was given, in terms of the date. This is Robert Wright, and he used to work in Obama's administration. It doesn't mean that he said it at that administration. He has his own podcast, so he does say things that's current. Now, some people say 60%. 2/3 and 60 is very close. So that's a bad situation if you're living paycheck to paycheck. Couple of more things before Darlene jump in on. 75% of the people whose illness are caused by bankruptcy due to hospital costs. They had insurance, so they bankrupt because of illness and because of the medical costs, and they had insurance while they bankrupt. And I got this from the American Journal of Medicine. So if you want to talk about the paycheck by paycheck or the bankruptcy during medical costs with insurance.
One thing, paycheck to paycheck, I don't always agree that it is the economy that causes you to live paycheck to paycheck. As I just explained to you a few minutes ago, there are some people who will spend every dime they get their hands on. Yes, the economy is tight right now. Yes, things are cost more. I do understand that. I don't necessarily believe that all things could be blamed on the economy right now. I think that if the economy was doing well, there are some people who will still be living paycheck to paycheck because that's how they live. That is how they live. I have a friend who she loves Lexus. She changes them every 2 years, but that's who she is. And I'm driving a 14-year-old car, but not her. She will never drive that. So her expenses are always much higher than mine. And she's always probably living paycheck to paycheck because of how she has chosen to live. I think that's part of it. I do think the economy is responsible for some of it, but I think some of it is also some of our own choices. And as individuals, we do have a choice to make. We make those choices. And I do understand, please don't get me wrong, I do understand that there are things where bread costs more, egg costs more, rent costs more. All those things are a lot more expensive, and so it pushes up your expenses. So there are some people and individuals who I know are just not making enough and only enough, or making only enough to pay for their expenses. So they are living paycheck to paycheck. But I also think there are those individuals who choose to do that, who choose to live a lifestyle that is important to them, and it takes up all the income that they make. So I do believe that that is possible. As far as medical expenses, I understand those perfectly. I was in Philadelphia and I hurt myself. And I went to the hospital in Philadelphia, and the hospital was crowded. It was just packed. And when I gave them my insurance, they put me in a wheelchair and they said, "We'll come get you in 1 minute. We'll come get you in 1 minute," because I had actually hurt my leg. And so they came out to take me in, and this gentleman said, "We've been sitting here all night, and she just walked in, and you're gonna take her." And And the nurse said, she has insurance and she's going to be paying for your service. So sit down and shut up. And I was so surprised. But I had insurance and it was important. And so they were taking me above all those people who didn't have insurance. And so I understand the importance of having insurance. And I understand what insurance can do for you and what it can't do for you. And insurance can get you in the hospital if you got a good one. If you don't, you're going to be sitting in the hallway for hours.
Do you think the president be sitting in the hallway for hours?
No. He has great insurance. All the senators have great insurance. All the representatives have great insurance on the people. They have great insurance.
Okay.
They'll never wait.
Okay, 78% of the NBA players are bankrupt after 5 years. 60% of, so I said the NFL, make sure I said the right, and NBA, the players are bankrupt after 5 years. And I got that from Sports Illustrated. So if you want to talk about, and one more thing I want to add on, which is different, is dealing with relationship. This is my analysis, which could be 100% wrong. I feel that these athletes' wife, so we're talking about the NFL, the NBA, the baseball, boxing, all those money-making sports, their wives or their women friend, whatever her title is with that guy, they tend to leave once their career ends. Because you got to look at all this money's coming in and this woman has, nobody's regulating her because this guy is doing the sport. So he's away all the time and he got to do other things all the time. So he really have no time for the relationship. But the minute that guy's retires, she wants a divorce because she's not used to somebody saying, hey, make me dinner. Hey, I'm going to do this. You got no say, all that kind of stuff. So she went from being empowered because she gets to spend the money without hearing anything from that guy. That's just my viewpoint of the situation. So Darlene can talk about, you don't need to talk about the relationship unless you want to. That's how I feel about it. But the high rate of bankruptcies from sports athletes.
I agree on one point that you made. I do believe that there are times that your husband's going to be gone 83 weeks out of a year, he's going to be gone. And so you are making decisions. You are doing what you want to do. You're running the house, you're living life. But I don't believe it is what the wife is spending that has caused you to go bankrupt. I look at some of those athletes and they have 20 cars. I'm like, you can only drive one car at a time. Why are you buying 20 cars? I look at some of those athletes and they bought their mother a home. They bought their brother a home. They bought their best friends who grew up with them homes.
Or they have an entourage.
Yeah, or they have an entourage where they are buying and spending their money. So I think a lot of what is happening to them is their own fault in a sense, because they don't know how to regulate themselves. They have all this money. You grew up in a situation where many of them were poor. Their families were working class, and now you're free. You have millions of dollars to spend. And millions sound like a lot when you grew up in a household that probably had $32,000 a year. And so I think they go about spending it and don't think about that millions can run out. If you are not investing, if you are not investing in your future, if you are not using it properly, millions can run out. And I don't think that all athletes think about that. I don't think they think about it until it is gone for
No,
some of them.
that the women piece was a sidebar.
Yes.
I'm not
yes,
saying that
yes.
they lose the money because of women. I'm saying
Oh yeah.
that the women go.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
saying that it's like a part of the situation, not the cause of the situation, because now when he really need that woman to try to get his head straight from spending crazy, she wants to leave.
Well, I thought I understood what you said, but what
I'm
I
not
was
saying-
what I was thinking in terms of what you said is her lifestyle is going to change, and maybe she did leave because her lifestyle going to change because he don't have all that anymore. He
No, but I
doesn't
didn't mean
have
it by
all
that.
Okay,
But
okay.
that could be a factor. I'm saying that you put yourself in the situation, not the financial situation, when your parents is gone and you're in the house. You think, well, say they went on a vacation. You say, I'm gonna watch TV until I fall asleep.
Yeah.
So you just feel this freedom that you get. You're gonna go in the refrigerator and eat that. Well, you know, if your mom and dad was there, you couldn't eat it.
Yes,
but they can't
I
stop
get
you.
you.
And then I'm gonna watch cable all night when they're gone. So I'm saying that
Yeah, I get you.
changes when
Yeah.
he gets
Yeah.
back. When
Yeah.
he ends his career,
Yes.
all that's gonna.
Yes, because now he is at home. It's just like any individual who was married to someone and you know that he leaves at 5 a.m, he comes home 6 at night. And then all of a sudden, it's like he's not leaving at 5 a.m. because he's retired.
Yeah.
He's sitting home all day.
Nagging you.
6 o'clock comes around, he's still there in your face. So I understand what you're saying. I was just thinking that you were saying her lifestyle has changed and she's leaving, but I do understand that also. You're right. Sometimes you have certain freedom and you don't want to give that up. But as far as the athletes and losing their money, I think that even though they said they give them financial courses, I don't think they really
Understand.
Yes, exactly what is being said and asked of them.
Yeah, because when you have a sports agent, he's taking a percentage. The lawyer is taking a percentage because he got to draw up all those contracts.
Yes.
Uncle Sam take 50%. And so if say you getting 10 million, this is your contract, 10 million. You're not getting, once the lawyer, the sports agent, and the government take that money, you're not getting 10 million.
You're not getting 10 million.
So but you're already counting. You're already counting the money. Because what happened, the system allows you to have the credit that they won't give to a poor person. So if I get drafted and they say, oh, you getting 10 million, I can go to the Mercedes-Benz dealer and get the Mercedes on credit.
Yes.
I don't have to show no money. I have to show the contract. I'm getting 10 million.
That's
drive
true.
the car off. So when you do that and then you start doing it here and here and here and here, you don't do the accounting like you do in your checkbook. You don't say, hey, I spent 50,000 over here and I spent 300,000 over here and I spent 10,000, and you don't add up, and then you can get taxed on that on top of that. And now you're saying where all the money went.
Yes. You might be down to 5 million by the time everybody finished getting their share. But I do remember I saw one of the basketball players and the mom, he was going to buy her a house. And the mom said, no. She said, I've lived in this little house all my life. You used to live here. She said, I'm going to live here until I die. She said, you don't have to spend your money buying me a house. I love my house. And I was proud of her because she did not take the gift that her son wanted to give her. She had a house. And she was happy with her little house. And I kind of wish more parents would say that. You know, even though their sons, yes, they are successful and they financially, they're doing well. They're getting $1 million contract. But you also have to think, Grant Hill got hurt and his career ended early. So if he had spent all his money, what would have happened to him?
Right.
And actually, I believe it was his mother who really talked about his finances and how he was supposed to not spend and keep them and things of that nature. So she was one who really looked out for him financially.
Well, another example, the rapper Redman, and I get the shows mixed up because I don't know if it's MTV. I think it's MTV Cribs, but it could have been the Lifestyle, the Rich and the Famous. But it's those shows that's trying to show people living beyond their means. When they'll call you and say, we want to show off what you have, your cars, your house, and all that kind of stuff. So they want to floss up the whole situation. When they got to Redman's house, he just had a regular house that everybody that kind of lives in, and he didn't really clean up. So when you came to the house, it looked junky, but it don't mean that it mean anything, because sometimes you clean your house and some days it's junky.
Yeah.
And the day that they came to his house, he was junky. That doesn't mean he don't clean his house. But when they seen the condition of his house, they asked him, we don't really want to highlight that you're living normally because you made millions, but you look like a regular Joe. And you know what they said to him? They said, we want to bring you to the suburb to a mansion, and you're going to pretend that this house is your house. And we're going to put out like a Ferrari in the drive. So have everybody believe that's how Redman was living large. And he said, nah. This is how I'm living. I'm living just like a regular Joe with a regular, I don't even remember I don't know if it was a Cape Cod or a ranch. He just had a regular
This is how
house.
I live.
Just living normally. And not because he was broke or anything. He probably wasn't. He's one of those people that didn't feel that I have to show where my money, show my money, live in my money.
Carry money around with you in a suitcase.
In a suitcase and stuff. So
what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So but that's the thing. We're in a society. I was looking at every time I see, and I'm gonna go to I don't want to use the term race, but I'm gonna go to groups. This particular group of people, every time I see them on TV, they have to have a chain on. I don't think a chain is an accessory to your clothing. I mean, you can use it for accessory, but what it to me is it's drawing attention that you're wearing something expensive. If you got a nice shirt, you could buy shirts that cost a lot of money, and some shoes and some slack. And you could say, well, this is over $1,000 worth of clothing.
People will know how much you're worth.
Yeah, they know that you didn't go to J.C. Penney's.
Yes.
They can see your clothing. But you having a $300,000 chain around your neck, to me, it doesn't make any sense. People will argue against that statement because people will have the right to spend their money the way they want to. But for me, one thing is you're drawing attention to yourself, meaning that because I know that if I'm down and out and my mentality is not Christian-like or moral, I'm like, I'm going to get me a gun, I'm going to stick this person up, and I'll be back on my feet. Even though it's hard to unload that chain. You just can't really take a chain and run into a pawn shop and cash out. But there's somewhere you can cash that out. So why set yourself up into that kind of situation where somebody want to rob you?
I think for some individuals who are wealthy, they don't believe they run in a crowd or circle that someone would rob them. I remember Big Papi. Every time he came out to play, I used to look and look at that chain. And he always wore this chain on his neck. And it was huge. And I was like, oh my God, he gonna miss the ball because that chain's gonna be jingling around and, but he always made it, and he always said he likes jewelry. And I was just always wondered, why would you put that chain on to play a baseball game, But he likes jewelry, and that's what he did. But I think also he never ran in circles where someone would want to rob him, because that's just not where he lived at that point in time, because he was a successful baseball player, which he did get robbed, I think, once.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing with Ice Cube. Ice Cube, I don't know where he was living in Los Angeles. It don't necessarily mean that he was living in Compton, but he was living somewhere in Los Angeles, and he kept getting robbed to the point where he moved because it didn't make any sense. And the people that lived around him, not on the street, but around him, were saying he got insurance. Well, you got to worry. That's not the point. The point is when you come outside and your car is not there.
Yes.
Why I got to go look for another car?
Yeah.
Because it should be in the driveway and stuff. So you got some people that don't want to leave where they grew up because, well, I shouldn't even say, but you know what they're used to, because they might feel comfortable in their neighborhood. Yeah. Why I gotta move to Beverly Hills or Bel Air to feel safe?
Yeah. Yeah.
I grew up in this particular area. I should be able to live in that area.
And the point is, they worked for that.
Yeah.
They worked for that item. They worked for that chain. They worked for those rings. They worked for them watches. They worked for those cars. They worked for those homes. And no one has the right, I think, to take those from them.
Right.
I don't believe you have the right to just walk up and rob them, because they worked for it. Yeah. Believe me, they worked for it. Sports is not the easiest thing. I think we all love sports and we watch them, but it's not easy. It's not easy on your body. It's not easy. I was watching something and they said the football player, the longest life of a defenseman on the football team is 6 years. And I was like, 6 years? Oh my God.
For their career, you're saying?
For their career.
Okay.
And if you think of it, you start at 25, and by 31, you're washed up.
Yeah.
Your career is over. So they've worked hard for it. They've sacrificed for it. And I think they have every right to keep it if they want to, or do what they want with it. But I do understand your point too. Why draw attention to yourself when you don't have to?
And another example, they had a rapper, which I don't know because I don't listen to the rap how I used to, because to me,
it's different.
It's different. I'm tired of hearing you're mixing grapes soda with drugs and all this mixture of all this stuff. You get sick of that. But they had this rapper, but I don't have any clue what his name is because I don't listen to his music. But they had him on the street video. He looked like Mr. T. He had all this jewelry, but it was fake.
Yes.
But he wants to project wealth. He's wearing his wealth, and he got set up, and they robbed him, and they realized that the robbers realized that it wasn't worth anything. But they used real guns to get it off of him. So you almost risk losing your life wearing fake stuff. So that's my argument. It's just not working. Worth it. So still staying on this topic, but not dealing with your regular Joe. 66% of the senators are millionaires. 41% of the House of Representatives after 5 years. I had to change that stat. The stat used to be, this is what we're talking about stats. The stats used to be 15 years. It takes them the House of Representative or Senator members to be a millionaire. Now it only takes them 5 years. Bernie Sanders, when he wrote that book, he became a millionaire off this sale. So, so you're using a public service occupation, and now you could be just rich as a celebrity or an athlete. That's ridiculous. You're not solving any problems, but you're getting richer. And they were getting, and I forgot, I have it somewhere in my stats. 9 years in a row, they was giving their selves raises. And it got so bad, the people had to, that's
Not me.
yeah.
Yeah. I believe that,
They had to
Yeah.
they had to stop, put the freeze the raises, because they're doing the people is not giving the raises. They were voting for
They
raises for
voting for
themselves.
raises, yeah.
And people's conditions are the same. So you're not making their lives and better, but you're making your life better by
Yeah.
the raises.
Yeah. Yeah. Politics is strange bedfellows. It is. Most people like myself who believe in that they're going to do better for the people. You want to believe that, and you vote according to that, or who you think is going to do the best for the people. But in the end, we seem to have a lot of politicians who want to do what's best for themselves, not necessarily for the people they represent. And I think I had told you this before. I think it is so unfortunate that people do not vote for what's in their best interest.
Right.
They vote according to grudge theory. I'm angry about this, or they don't believe in the God or Jehovah or whoever I pray to. That's how people vote. And when you vote like that and don't vote in your best interest, you get politicians who do not do what is in your best interest. You get politicians who say, okay, I'm going to do what's in my best interest. I'm going to do what I want to do. And I want to make a living off of this, make some money off of this, and I'm going to do it. And so I can understand them getting rich, because I think people don't require services of them that you did before. I don't believe that people do not do what is best for themselves and do not vote people in who will champion their causes.
Okay, we got this is a conclusion because of minutes. So I'm going to give you one more. Okay, 1/3 of the people in homeless shelters have jobs. What do you think?
I believe that wholeheartedly. But I believe that they have jobs that do not pay them enough so that they can do all of their expenses. The way that houses go right now, the housing market, a friend of mine went to one of the houses in Bloomfield, and it was something like an apartment in Bloomfield, and it was something like the efficiency was $1,600. Some people, that's all they make in a month. So you're making the money, but you can't spend and you can't pay for that apartment. You just can't. So something has to go, and sometimes it's the apartment, sometimes it's the food. It just depends on what they choose. Prescriptions, the car. It depends on what they choose.
No savings. You can't even invest or save.
Yes.
Because everything's going to the rent.
Yes.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, my sister and I ran into a childhood friend of ours 2 days ago, and she said she was living in her car, and we were like, "Oh my God, really?" And we were just so upset for her. And she said, "I chose it." She said, "I chose to live in my car rather than pay the high rents that they have." She said, "So I'd rather pay my money on gas and live in my car." And she works, she has a job, but she doesn't want to pay the rents. So she has made a conscious choice to live in her car. You know, and to pay her car note and to pay for gas, but not an apartment. So I can believe that. I used to volunteer at one of the women's shelters, and some of them went out to work every day, but they did not make enough on that job to provide for their daily living.
And then the shelter is free.
Yes.
So
Shelter's free.
So you have a roof over your head.
Yes. All you have to worry about at the shelter is getting in on time, you know, because they had a time clock. You had to be in by a certain time. Yeah.
This one, since we got like a minute, in 1937, the U.S. had 4,740 strikes. In the year 2007, 21. So you went to over 4,000 strikes in 1937. In 2007, they only had 21 strikes. So that means the corporation has dominated the workforce. So you really don't have anything like living wages and stuff, trying to have your work conditions better because they got totally control. Either you take this condition or you're fired.
And that's why one of the things, not talking about politics, but one of the things that Kamala Harris said was when unions do better, everyone do better. And it's true.
Yeah.
If you stop the unions from fighting for you, fighting for wages, fighting for health, then everyone is affected. And that's what unions used to do. My father was a part of a union all of his life, and construction got better. As the unions protest, construction conditions got better.
Yeah.
You know, my father used to work on the high levels, as they call them. And my brothers used to go sometime with him on Saturday and carry the cement up the stairs because they didn't have machinery to carry it up. And one would carry the water, one would carry the cement. So I understand. You know, you need unions to fight for you, to fight for conditions to be better. And I don't see that happening now.
Right.
Yep.
So you have any comments that with the passing of the show?
No, but thank you for inviting me. Thank you for inviting me to your show, and hopefully we've imparted some knowledge. Okay. You know, and not that everyone will agree with us, but hopefully we imparted some knowledge. Yeah. And something for somebody to think about.
Yeah. So, but the point is that statistics are hard, you know, to put it into your regular lives, you know, because it depends where you're getting it. Thank you for watching. All right. Thanks for coming.
Oh, yeah.
Step into our store and discover a stunning array of dancewear. Introducing Dancingly Yours, your one-stop shop for all things dance and delight for ages 2 to 92. From tiny tutus to energetic tap shoes, our store is a treasure trove of dance essentials. At Dancingly Yours, we offer an extensive collection of dancewear and accessories that cater to all styles and levels. We carry top brands and the latest fashion trends. From ballet to hip-hop, lyrical to jazz, ballroom to liturgical, as well as gymnastics, you'll find the best selection right here at Dancingly Yours. But we're not just a store. We're a community that celebrates the joy of dance. Our expert team is passionate about dance, just like you. So we're here to assist you in finding the perfect fit. And the best part, Dancingly Yours offers competitive pricing in-store and online. Dancingly Yours, easy to get to, and worth the trip from anywhere, right on Route 10 in Plainville.
This is Bristol Health Cares. Special thanks to Nutmeg TV. It's a nonprofit organization. An organization that's going through some difficult times right now and needs your support. Many of you out there have cut the cable, as I have cut the cable, and a lot of the funding that took place for nonprofit stations like Nutmeg TV throughout the state of Connecticut, as people transition from cable TV to the other methods of getting their content, the funding has gone down and down and down. And so programs like this, like you're seeing today, and the programs that you watch on Nutmeg TV, may not be there in the future if we don't all rally behind them and help them with our support to the extent that we can. So have a wonderful day, and until the next time, this is Kurt Barwis, President and CEO of Bristol Health, signing off.